In this lecture, we will talk about the vowels of the Italian language. Italian vowels are a lot easier than the English vowels because you only have 5 vowels and 7 different sounds to them. This means that for 2 vowels, you have 2 different ways of pronunciation. This happens for vowel E, which can be either open or closed, E or E, and vowel O, which can also be open or closed, O or O. Now, let's look at the vowels in detail. If you remember from our previous lecture, the vowels are created with the movement of air that from our lungs comes all the way to our throat and out of our mouth. There is a little vibration of the vocal cords, but mainly the vowels are produced with a motion of our mouth that can be either open or closed. So just remember that the air that is coming out of our mouth will not find an obstacle and will be free to come out easily from our mouth. In order to help us understand how these vowels are made inside of our mouth, I really like to use this helpful tool, which is the triangle of vowels. If you were to look at the triangle, just simply try to imagine that the 2 long lines are the sides of your tongue. The tip of the triangle is the tip of your mouth, and the back line is the back of your mouth. In this way, you have a bit of a visualization of where exactly they are produced. Obviously, there is a lot more to it than this simple triangle, but this gives us a basic understanding of where in our mouth the sound is produced. As I said before, we have 5 vowels and different sounds. We will start off with the easy sounds, meaning those that never change pronunciation, which are vowel A, vowel I, and vowel U. The first vowel, vowel A, is produced in the middle part of your mouth towards the front section of your mouth. This vowel never changes pronunciation. You will always pronounce it the same way. Angela e Antonio. Amo mia mamma. Adelaide è in Australia. As you can hear, every time I pronounce the letter A, I have always pronounced it in the same way. An important tip that you might need to take down and remember is that if you have the vowel A with an H in front of it, you actually have a verb. The verb to have. Example of this, Giovanna ha un fratello. Giovanna has a brother. Ha is a verb. It's the third person singular of the verb to have. The next vowel is vowel I. Vowel I is pronounced towards the back of your mouth. Vowel I compared to English is a lot easier because you will always have the same I pronunciation. When you have a different association of vowels, meaning you have more than one vowel next to the other, this I sound might change a little bit, but we will look at this in detail when we look at the consonant G and G. In the meantime, just understand that it is completely different than in English. If you were to look at the word easily in English, you can hear that the sound I is actually produced in many different ways. You have the first section, which is I-A, easily. You actually have the I sound, so you have a single I letter that is pronounced I, easily. And last but not least, you have the Y. The Y sound can also be pronounced like the Italian I. So in easily, you have 3 different ways of making that same sound. In Italian, it's not like this. It is a lot easier. It's simple. You will always hear the I pronounced as I. For example, Italia, Ivano, introduzione. The next vowel is vowel U. A lot of people confuse this vowel and say that it is a frontal vowel, but our triangle makes us understand that it is really not a frontal, but it is pronounced towards the back of your mouth. Obviously, there is not a lot of space inside your mouth, so sometimes it's hard to understand front and back positions. Just think of this. If it was actually a frontal sound, it would be U, because the air would be pushed all the way towards the front of your mouth and it would touch the teeth. Instead, you're pronouncing U, and the air is actually pushed back towards the back of your palate. To pronounce correctly U, it's like if you were giving a kiss to someone or making a tube shape of your mouth. U, U. The U vowel is quite easy because you will always have the same pronunciation. For example, Ugo, Uruguay, Ultimo. As you can hear, the pronunciation stays the same. Now, let's look at those two vowels that actually have two different types of pronunciation. Remember that we always have the open and the closed pronunciation. If you were to look at the triangle, you can see that halfway between A and I, you have the letter E. This vowel can be an open E or a closed E. Let's look at the open E. The open E is similar to the pronunciation of the English word egg. Try to say it with me. Egg. Egg. Some examples of words with an open E are campanello, te. There's one thing that you need to keep in mind with the open E. If you see it written down with an accent, so you have an open E sound, and graphically you have an accent on that E, you are talking about a verb. You have the third person of the verb to be. For example, Marco è arrabbiato. Marco is upset. Il gatto è in giardino. The cat is in the backyard. If you have a closed I sound and you do not have a graphic accent on that vowel, you have a conjunction. For example, Marta e Luca. Marta and Luca. Mangio carne e pesce. I eat meat and fish. Amo l'Italia e la Francia. I love Italy and France. To help you understand the sound of the closed E, you can use the word elastic in English. The sound is very similar. You can hear the closed E in words such as momento, 30, 20. The second vowel that actually changes pronunciation is the vowel O. You can have an open O or a closed O. The open O is very close to the pronunciation of the word lost in English, whilst the closed O is similar to the pronunciation old in English. The open O sound can be found in words such as pomodoro, oblò, 9. The closed O sound can be found in words such as dottore, religione, amore. Even with the vowel O, there's a small tiny rule that is best that you memorize and that you know. If you add an H in front of an O, you actually have a verb. H plus O is the first person singular of the verb to have. For example, ho fame, I'm hungry. Ho 2 fratelli, I have 2 brothers. Ho un cane, I have a dog. I understand that I have given you a lot of information on these vowels, but I can also tell you one thing. Most of the Italians do not pronounce correctly the open and the closed sounds. In northern Italy, the open E sound hardly is pronounced correctly. Whilst in the southern part of Italy, the open e sound is also stressed too much, and you might find it really emphasized in their speech. This is just to tell you that if you do not understand correctly the difference between an open and a closed sound, it is really not that big of a deal. You will be understood. The quick tips that I have given you in this lecture are important to understand that if you have an H or if you have an accent on a certain vowel, this letter might actually change meaning. So I would strongly suggest to memorize those quick tips that I have given you inside the lecture. Should you want to go a little bit more in detail and understand even better what are the actual rules of when you use an open and a closed sound, you can find these in the notes that I always give you after each lecture. Do not worry if you had a hard time following this lecture. It is not easy, I understand. I myself am from the northern Italy, so even for myself it's hard to understand when it is an open E or when it is a closed E. So do not worry, just follow along, complete the exercise that you will find after this lecture. I'm sure that you will begin to learn a little bit more and understand a little bit more about the open and the closed vowels. So go ahead, do the exercise, have fun, relax, and enjoy. I'll see you at the next lecture. Ciao!